Shalom to all of you. Thank you so much for coming to this video. I appreciate your time. Today we're going to be speaking about Father Avraham, why he was chosen, and in particular, we're going to take a closer examination of the issue of Sodom and Gomorrah. Let's take a closer look as to why Avraham was so special, why he is called Father Avraham with so much love by Israel. The story of Avraham's discussion with Elohim about the fate of Sodom and Gomorrah is usually described as Avraham bargaining with Elohim. But a closer examination of this story tells you something much more special, very special. The discussion begins in Genesis chapter 18, verse 17. Actually, before the discussion, Elohim gives you an inside look into a question that he's asking himself, but he lets you know what he is asking himself. It's beautiful. Should I hide from Avraham what I am doing? Pay very close attention. Should I hide from Avraham what I am doing? The question is not, should I hide from Avraham what I am considering doing? No. What I am doing is what he says. Very clear. Which would suggest that God is open to other possibilities. Yes, other possibilities. No, the text clearly tells us that God knows what will happen to Sodom and Gomorrah. Still, God engages with Avraham. It's so beautiful that Elohim, the creator of all things, who doesn't need any human being to stand up and speak with him back and forth and wrestle with him with words. He's the creator of all things, all the most incredible creation, the mass oceans, all the animals of the earth, the great dinosaurs, all of these things he created. And yet, a human being, he's willing to go back and forth with words. It shows the love and care he has for human beings, us. It's amazing. It's so beautiful. He engages with Avraham. A lengthy discussion about the presence of righteous people among the wicked. Why? Why even have a discussion? What's interesting is we don't find this kind of discussion with, for example, Noah. May he rest in peace. And I'm not trying to bring shame upon any name of our blessed prophets of the scriptures. But Noah did not plead for the earth in all their wickedness. We don't find the same back and forth as we do with Avraham. So there's a difference here. Maybe Noah had his own reasonings. You can be heartbroken by reading Bereshit chapter 6, Genesis chapter 6, where it says that Elohim looked down on the earth and saw the wickedness of man, how there was only evil in their heart all the time. And he was heartbroken. His heart was broken. So even Elohim was heartbroken at what he saw on the earth. So I'm not taking anything away from Noah. Perhaps he felt that silence was the best thing. He was amidst the people. He was in the earth. So maybe he didn't feel. But there is a significant difference between Avraham's reaction to the destruction and Noah. And there are two differences. One is the entire earth, and one is a city. So we can put those differences aside, but there is a difference between Noah's reaction and Avraham. So let's take a look at Avraham's reaction. Avraham has been chosen as the source of blessings for all humanity, not just Israel. It says, through your seed, everyone, all the earth, will be blessed through your seed. So therefore, real Israelites, this is why we are the true Israelites, and all the earth can be blessed through us because we are supposed to spread that blessing throughout the earth, not be a curse to the earth and talk nasty to the earth and think that we're better than those of the earth. That's not what we were chosen for. We were chosen to be a light to the nations, the whole earth, to be teachers, to teach the truth about Elohim. And Elohim said that he chose Avraham for many reasons. And one of the reasons is that he would teach his children and those who come after him to keep the way of the eternal, doing what is right and just. We find this in Genesis chapter 18, verse 19. Very, very clear. So it's not just about faith. It's not just because he believed in God, like the New Testament, Romans, Paul says that it was because of faith, not because of what he did. No, again, it's because he was obedient, and he will teach his children to be obedient and to follow the way of Yehovah, which is requiring action, doing something. Not just, I believe, but doing something. Put it into action, to work. If Avraham is to teach his descendants what is right and just, he will have to know those things himself. This is very true. So therefore, God is also testing Abraham by letting him have a conversation back and forth with him. So God tells Abraham that the wickedness of Sodom and Gomorrah requires their destruction. Utter destruction. Here, Abraham sets himself apart from his ancestor Noah, who, upon being told the whole earth would be destroyed because of its wickedness, remained remarkably silent, as I said before. So instantly, Abraham shows his true colors and the difference, asking whether the innocent should really perish with the guilty. He actually tells God, will the just and mighty creator of all things, the great judge, really kill the innocent with the guilty? I mean, think about the nerve and this. It's just so beautiful. This is why we love Avraham. He actually questions God. He steps up and goes, wait a minute. The God of all creation, you, Elohim, you are willing to kill the innocent with the guilty? So it's amazing. He is not afraid to stand up for what is just, knowing that he himself and his family and entourage are innocent, and knowing that his nephew Lot and his family are residents of Sodom. He is confident that there are good people among the evil ones of that wicked place called Sodom and Gomorrah. He was sure of it. But he does not ask God to save only the good people. This is also very specifically what he does not ask for. He doesn't say just save the good people. He bargains for the forgiveness of the whole place. The whole place. And God clearly accepts Abraham's terms, as Genesis chapter 18:26 shows. Now remember, he says, if there are 70 righteous people, will you spare the whole city? And he goes down the list. What about 50? What about 30? I'm paraphrasing here. 20, 10. Can you spare the whole city? That means he wanted to spare the entire city, even the sinful, if there were righteous people. And Elohim was open enough to listen to his conversation and listen to his words. He was finding out the heart of Avraham. But God says this knowing. He says, if I find 50 innocent people in Sodom, I will pardon the whole place for their sake. And he goes down and says the same thing. For each number, he goes down and down and down. He says, I will pardon for their sake. So and Abraham, he gets a little nervous because he keeps going with him. 20, like, what about 20? Please hold back your anger. Please don't burn with anger, Elohim. I beg you. But God says, this knowing that there are not 50 good people, nor 45, nor 30, nor 20, not even 10 good people in Sodom and Gomorrah. He knew this already. He knew. He wanted to see what Avraham would do. What would he say? The bargaining concludes when Avraham proposes that the cities be saved for the sake of 10 righteous people. And God agrees. In Genesis chapter 18, verse 32. In the end, God departs, and the good people, at least those who accept God's advance warning, were saved. But the cities are destroyed because of their discussion. And the result, had there had been 10 good people, the cities would have been saved, as Avraham pleaded last resort. He said, please don't burn with anger when I ask you this. Please don't get angry with me. But what if there's 10 righteous people? Will you spare the city? And Elohim says, yes. He does not get angry. He says, yes, I will. But sadly, this was not the case. He knew that there was not, and there was not 10 good people, even 10 in this wicked city. Interestingly, the saving of the good people was never the issue. You understand? It was never the issue, saving good people. It was saving all the people. The point here seems to be that goodness must reach a critical mass in order to offset the evil around it. That's the lesson here. That good can conquer over the wickedness, even if it's in unbelievable amounts of evil. A little bit of good. Avraham believed with all his heart that even if there was just 10 righteous people, their goodness would spread to the entire land, and righteousness would be rewarded. That's the difference. Avraham believed that wickedness could be conquered by the goodness of people. The critical mass is apparently 10, the number of people required for a minyan, which represents a Jewish community by tradition. But even when that critical mass is not achieved, goodness is preserved and evil is punished. So if Elohim knew all along that there was not enough righteous people to save the cities, and that the righteous ones themselves would nonetheless be saved, what is the point of the whole discussion with Avraham? That's the question. What was the whole point of the discussion? Because many people ask, well, what was the real point? It is not to change the predetermined outcome. It was going to happen. But rather to offer Avraham the opportunity to demonstrate his own righteousness before Yehovah himself, by pressing Elohim to save the cities for the sake of the righteous. Justice. Mercy. That's who Father Avraham was in his heart. God, who knew that there were not enough righteous people in Sodom to save it, must also have thought and known that Avraham would rise to press the point of justice. Perhaps that explains why God chose Avraham, of all people, to be the source of blessings to all humanity. Shalom, and I hope you enjoyed this video.